Hello, you gorgeous people. How are you this fine day? Today I'm talking about labels. Labels. And that's not the label that's on your jam or your peanut butter. The labels we put on ourselves. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I had a friend who, when I knew her when she was a lot younger, and we used to hang about together, she was off a fucking rocker. Okay? And that's not a technical term. That was my opinion. She's off her fucking rocker. I used to look at it and think, and what she did demonstrated to me that she was off a fucking rocker. However, years later, like 20 years, we lost contact because I needed to get away from her and those kind of people. 20 years later, she got back in contact with me and she said, the doctor has told me now I've been diagnosed. I'm bipolar. And now that I know I'm bipolar, I feel so much better about being off my fucking rocker. Okay? So, that stuck in my mind. And I thought to myself, wow, just getting a label and she's happy. Getting a label and she's happy. I was having a conversation recently with somebody and they were talking about the new vogue labels. The labels that are out and about. And these labels, these new ones, are called neurotypical, neurodivergent. You may have heard them. I hadn't. I might have vaguely heard them, but I haven't. I am not a big fan on labels. In fact, I'm doing a talk on my therapy channel about labels. If you are neurotypical, that means there's nothing wrong with you. You're normal. And if you're neurodivergent, that means that there's something going on in your head that isn't normal. Now, I am going to tell you the truth. Everybody's neurodivergent. What does that mean? Does that mean we're all off our rockers? In a certain way, yes we are. Yes we are. I am. I know that. I don't think like everybody else. And I've got a funny feeling that you don't think like everybody else as well. So does that mean we're neurodivergent? We have neural pathways that are different, divergent? Yes, it does. However, it's not being used in that way. It's been used as a label, right? We also have other labels on our side of the fence. We don't get away with it, And our labels are ascension symptoms. I'm ascending. Now, in a conversation I had with the emissaries, they brought this up. We were talking about labels, and they brought up the idea of people putting down physical symptoms as ascension symptoms. And they said, be very careful. Be very careful. Their words. Be very careful, because you could be labeling something as ascension symptoms when in fact it's something that you need to deal with. And this is the crux of the matter. This is what I wanted to kind of talk about. Labels are excuses. Right? And I know that sounds tough, but it's true. Labels are excuses. When we put a label on ourselves, like, oh my God, I've just shouted at my wife, I'm so angry, it's because I'm ascending. Okay? Or, example, I have just done a cartwheel in a pub filled with people. I'm a woman and I've got no knickers on. Okay? That's just harking back to my friend who's now bipolar. Okay? Before she was bipolar, she used to do things like that. Now that she's bipolar, she still does them, but she knows why. Okay? So, the issue that we've got with all of this is that when we start excusing our behavior because we've got a label, I can't help it. It's not my fault. It's because I'm ascending. Of course. I can't get my arse out of bed, I'm ascending. I know we've talked about this before, but these are labels. Right. So am I saying that people who've been given a label of bipolar are not bipolar? Am I saying that people who've been given a label of autistic are not autistic? No, I'm not saying that at all. Absolutely not. However, and I'm not referring to people who are extremely out there, all right? Because there's a group of people who really do not have any control over who they are or what they are. And we're not talking about them. I'm talking about people that I'm seeing who are excusing themselves by putting a label on themselves, right? And it's happening just as much in our group, by people saying, I am like this because I'm ascending, okay? It's just excusing a behavior. What's the solution? The solution's easy, right? Let me just give you an example. So somebody who's bipolar, and the function in life, just every now and again, they do something really weird. So what's the solution? Well, if I were in that situation, what I would be doing is I would be looking at every single thing, every single way that I can put that right. I would be getting therapy for that. I would be looking at my diet for that. I would be making sure that I'm not stuffing my face with meds that are doing weird stuff to my body. I would be doing all kinds of things to take responsibility for me, right? And I know you would. And this is where the issue comes. You see, for me, a label is like a stop sign. We get the label and people go, that's it. That's the answer. That's the answer. That's why. So I need to do nothing. I don't need to do fuck all. Yeah. Because I know why now. No, that's not. Wait, that's the start. That's just the start. Once you know what's going on, then it's what can I do? You see, it's a matter of responsibility, isn't it? We have to take responsibility for ourselves, no matter what state we're in. I've been in some terrible states in my life. Terrible states. And I had to sort them out. That's what we have to do. So it's not a case of just saying, well, I'm neurodivergent and that's it. I'm happy as Larry. Like a pig in shit. I think that's the expression, isn't it? Like, well, I'll just enjoy this and I'll excuse myself. No. There are people who are autistic who go on to build businesses and do all kinds of things and to work on themselves. There are people who are bipolar who radically change their life, radically change the diet, get rid of all the stresses out of their life and do lots of therapy, and suddenly they're okay. Or better, let's say that. So I think it's time now for us to drop our labels. Drop our labels. So I said to the emissaries when they were talking about this, I said, so when do we have to be the true us, true to ourselves? They were saying, in this life, we are constantly working labels. We are working our labels, and it's okay. Like, for example, if you're a teacher, then when you were teaching, that is what you were presenting. That's your label. I am a teacher, and that's okay in this particular role. Yeah. And if you're a therapist, I'm using me as an example. If you're a therapist, then when you're doing therapy, you are a therapist. That's your label. That's what people see. That's what you're projecting forward. But the emissary said, when we have to be ourselves, the time that we have to drop all of our labels is when we get home and we look at ourselves in the mirror. And they said, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, what we have to see is us, the real I am. That means warts and all. That's the good and the bad, the fat and the thin, the beautiful and the ugly, the up and the down. That's when we must see ourselves, and that's our life's work, is to see ourselves. And obviously the emissaries have been talking a lot about the importance now of doing this. This is the time that we really have to unveil, we have to uncloak all of this stuff we've been hiding and look at ourselves truly. And it isn't to get rid of it. It's not to get rid of those horrible things. It's to learn to love them, accept them, forgive them, and take them on as part of us. And I promise you that when we do that, when we take on the dark side of ourselves, it will diminish. It will be set free, and it won't be an issue. It's only an issue when we deny it, because we give it power. It's like running away from your shadow. You just can't do it. And so now it's time to integrate the shadow. This is a time of integration, right now. So, there we are. That's the message. So drop your labels. I'm doing the best I can to drop mine. I think I've still got about a whole roll of labels to drop. However, we'll get there. We'll work through it together. All right, I love you all. I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.